Kathy. Welcome to the Colorful Homeschooler Podcast, where we parlay on productivity, personality, passions, education, and theory. I'm a lover of Jesus, a wife of 20 years, and a homeschool mama of 4 special needs boys who keep me constantly active. I'm so glad you're here to join me. Pull up a chair. There's space for you at this table. Welcome back, fellow homeschoolers and mamas that are listening. This episode is going to be specifically targeted towards reflecting back on last year's homeschool year. This is something that I try to do every year, although there have been a few years where I have skipped it, and the beginning of my next year has suffered because of it. So I encourage you to take this time. Now, what do I say every time I give one of these reflection episodes? Find some time for you. Now, I know to all my mamas who are listening to this while you're driving or running, which is what I do, or at the gym or making dinner, I get it. We are crazy busy. But I don't feel like these reflections can be done as well as they are possible to be done unless you are making space without distraction for your brain to be able to focus and really process through the questions that I'm asking. So I encourage you, find some time, make it a coffee shop for just you. It's a mama date for you. And go and have no children. Those little cuties do not make brain processing very easy. So go and have some time to yourself. Play some lovely music, or silence might be what you need to fully process. Meet your senses where they need to be. So light a candle or burn some incense, or make sure that you have calming perfume on. Meet your taste buds by eating something yummy, buying something at the store beforehand, ordering your favorite coffee drink, going to a kava bar, which is something that I am trying for the first time, hopefully this coming week. How about your hearing? Can you play some lovely music? Do you like classical when you need to focus? Do you like folk music? Do you like worship music? What works for you to be able to focus the best? Finally, have your spirit come to the table also. So start with a prayer. Lord, help me to be able to look back with your eyes, Father, not to navel gaze and try to figure it all out on my own, because I cannot. And I want my homeschool to be yours. So help me, Lord, to be able to reflect wholly and completely on this homeschool year without judgment, but with your eyes. Thank you, Father. In your holy name we pray. Amen. Or something like that works for you. Now, I mentioned in my prayer something incredibly important. This is not a time for judging yourself. We're going to recognize a lot of goods and maybe some negatives as well from our last homeschool year. So you want to make sure that you're not coming at this from I should have done this better, or darn it, I always mess this up. I don't want to hear any of that. Ladies, we are all doing a powerful work for our children, and this is not easy, and this is a long road that we don't often get to see the end result of for many, many years, because we are not just parent, we are also teacher and principal and guidance counselor and gym teacher and fitness instructor and chauffeur and cook and cleaner. I mean, we're just working a lot of jobs and putting on a lot of hats. So don't judge as you're listening to this, okay? Promise me? Then I'll continue. So I came up with some categories that you should reflect upon for your end of the year assessment. The first thing that I want you to do is an overall general. So what worked in school year 2024-2025? What worked for you and what didn't? Okay. Now, again, we're not looking at this and saying, well, such and such didn't work. And as we're saying that, we're trying to think of the solution. No, that is a different step. Right now, this is just reflection. So if something doesn't work, if you notice consistent issues with something, I want you to write it down. Even if it's something you're not going to change, even if it's something that you're just hoping gets better, whatever the case, this didn't work, you know it, write it down. Then what did work also Okay, and what are you taking with you into 2025-26? What are your, for sure, this worked, we're not changing a stitch of it. It's got to be exactly the same. And write that down too. I want these 3 questions answered at the outset, and then we're going to come back to them at the end. Now, today's episode is not about looking ahead. That will be a few episodes in the future. Right now, this is just reflection. So again, no solutions. We're not trying to come up with the solution right now. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're just writing down, this didn't work. This did work, and I'm definitely taking this ahead. And then, before you go any further, I want you to celebrate your wins. Ladies, what worked? What are you definitely taking ahead? Celebrate the win. These are big things, and they don't feel big because we never give ourselves ample amount of reward. And this could just be letting ourselves sit back for a minute and saying, "Good job, Mama." And I mean that. I say I believe at you at the end of every episode because I do. So good job, Mama. You got through and aced another homeschool year. Congratulations. Okay, let's go into some of my categories. So the first one that everyone thinks of when we say what worked, what didn't, is curriculum, right? So I'm going to go over the subjects in our next category, but your curriculum that you chose for each subject that you're currently doing, how did it work? Did it meet your children where they need to be? Did it get them ahead? Did they excel in it, or did they plateau in it? Was it a daily cry fest, or did it guide your child gently? Do you need a philosophy check on what curriculum you're using? Perhaps you love the philosophy of Charlotte Mason, but you're using a very standard school at home type of curriculum. Those 2 things aren't going to gel and probably won't make you feel warm and fuzzy at the end of the day. So, is your philosophy joining up with the curriculum that you're choosing? And how did your curriculum work for the year? Check into it, think about it, write down your answers. Again, judgment-free zone, and this is not coming up with solutions. This is just stream of consciousness writing about the different curriculum that you chose for each of your children. Next, also, did the curriculum work for your family structure? So it might be the best curriculum in the world and you loved it, but maybe it doesn't work as well as you needed to for your family structure. Or it may not be the best curriculum and you had to fill in some holes, but it works perfectly for your family structure. So that needs to be added in. Are you schooling an only child? Do you have 4 kids, 8 kids? How many kids are at home? And do you work in the mornings? Do you work at night? Do you not work at all? These are all things to kind of put in the soup of figuring out if the curriculum is working for you. Next category would be the subjects. And I say subjects as a category because are you doing all of the subjects that you want to? Are you doing too many? Is there something you want to take out and replace with something else? Do you feel like you're hitting all of the marks that you want to hit? And secondarily to that, if you're in a state that has requirements for homeschooling, are you hitting all of those benchmarks that you need to hit for the requirements? Again, judgment-free. Let's just see how you're doing. We're just writing it down. So let me give you an example of a subject listing. So there's history and geography, or our social studies. That also includes economics and government, civics, science, language arts, which is reading, grammar, writing, as well as literary analysis as they get older. Math, of course. And now how about the arts? That encompasses visual art, auditory art, so music, painting, drawing, sculpting, dancing, theater, right? There are a lot of options within the arts. Is that being met in your homeschool? Life skills, health and physical fitness. And then what about career-focused ones? Perhaps computer science or coding or Minecraft or whatever those career-focused ones would be. Okay, so within that listing of subjects, are there some that you hadn't thought of for last year? Or maybe you thought about it in the middle of the year, but it was just too much to implement for this year. Did you learn some new things about English language arts? I've done some episodes recently on Charlotte Mason's notebooking methods. Did you hear something that was exciting for you that you want to implement for the next year? Okay, next category would be your children's learning styles. Now, I did an episode 19, on schooling for multiple intelligences. So there are two different models of learning styles, and these are either the VARC model or the extended model. And the VARC model includes visual, auditory, reading, writing, and kinesthetic. So VARK. And then the extended one adds in social, solitary, and logical. And a lot of these are covered in that multiple intelligences episode. Again, that's episode 19, and I'll link it in the show notes. So as far as these learning styles go, what are we assessing when we're looking back over our year? Well, did you meet your child's learning style with the way that you're teaching, with the curriculum you chose? Is there a secondary learning style that could beef up their learning if that was more included? We're just checking it out. We're looking at it. If you don't know your child's learning style, again, episode 19 will help with that. But have you really been a detective of your child? Try and do that over the summer. Try and learn your child's learning style, because that will make educating that child so much better. So, did what you did this year meet your child's learning style? Next would be group versus individual. What did you choose to teach your family as a group? And what did you choose to teach them by themselves? Now, often everyone will say, well, math is by themselves, and maybe reading is by themselves, writing. But what did you choose to teach together? Did it work? Did it not work? Why didn't it work? Write down specifics. My one son can't pay attention because I have to continually tell his brother to focus. My other son likes to lay down and roll on the floor. It's extremely distracting to my other son, who really needs an orderly classroom during group activities. So if these are difficulties that you're having, just write them down. We're not trying to assess. We're not trying to make them better right now, because some of the things that I just named are true to life. Some of them are just examples, but the ones that are true to life, man, I do not know how to fix some of these things. So I'm really praying through it right now. But I'm just recognizing, hey, this was pretty challenging. This was not working. Doesn't mean that I'm definitely changing it, but I'm just writing it down as something I am recognizing and assessing in my reflection. Next would be, what type of scheduling did you choose to do? Did you do loop scheduling, block scheduling, traditional? Did you go down to 4 days a week, or are you schooling year-round? Did you try a year of unschooling? These are all different homeschooling scheduling options. What you chose, my questions, did it work for you? Was it best serving each child and their learning style? And was it helping you as the teacher? Because, ma'am, you spend more hours on this than anyone else in the house. So, is it helping you? Is the scheduling you chose working for you? And if not, can you research some of these other scheduling options so that you can then maybe try a different one for a little bit? I'll be doing a podcast over the summer on the different scheduling options. So definitely look for that coming out. New episodes every Tuesday. Okay, next, behaviors. How have your children's behaviors been during the homeschool time? And ladies, how have your behaviors been? Again, we are not judging, we're just reflecting. You could say, sheesh, Wednesday at 2:00, I am really falling apart every week, crying, whatever the case is. Write it down. Just what have you observed about your own behaviors? And then, of course, what have you observed about your children's behavior? Okay, again, we're not trying to solve, we're just reflecting. What have you observed in the homeschool time frame? Because when you decide what to do in the upcoming year, you might want to work on that. You might want to do some things to bring about some change in that area, but we definitely want to note it down. Okay, were there any extenuating circumstances this year? I have an amazing homeschool mama friend, and she is a great homeschool mom, my friends, but she was sick all year. So her reflection is going to look a lot different than a normal year. And we have to call into account any extenuating circumstances when we're doing these reflections, because what we do in times of crisis or intense things happening around us is probably going to be different than what we do when everything's fine or, sustainable. Okay, next, planning. How did you do planning? Are you type A? Do you like to have everything planned in a beautiful checklist? Are you type B, where you don't really want to have anything planned and you're fine just going with the flow? Or are you somewhere in the middle? And did it work this year? What could probably use a little more planning? What could use more flexibility? Really assess that. How did that work for your homeschool flow? And how do your children need things? Is there a child, if you're type B and you're more go with the flow, do you have a child who needs everything planned out? And if so, how are you handling that? Just assessing. Okay, here's the last couple of categories. Next, how was your support structure this year in your homeschool year? Have you made deeper friendships? Have you allowed time for your children to make deeper friendships? Are you getting the support that you need as the mom? And are your children getting some support that they need as children? Not just from you and your husband or mom friend, but are they getting enough support? I came out with an episode on this, episode 13, Who's Your Squad? It's about connection in this age of isolation, and I'll link that in the show notes too. I tried to give some healthy ideas on how to connect, and I even have my own acronym. So check it out if that would be helpful to you. I hope it will. So how is your support structure? And whatever support structure you have, was it enough? Or were there some holes that you could possibly plug up? Next, your emotions. How are your emotions? Did you have a year of struggle? Are you dealing with some depression? Are you grieving the loss of a loved one or the loss of a dream? These are all important to take into account when we're reflecting. There's a term called allostatic load. And if you picture a drinking glass, everything that goes into it adds to your stress level. Big rocks. So perhaps taking care of a special needs child, big rock. Husband being out of work, big rock. Marriage going through a difficult time, big rock. Your fitness level isn't what it used to be, and it's really bringing you down, big rock. Okay, so anyway, this could be a number of things, but there can be too many big rocks in our cup. And the allostatic load is how full that cup is. So if it's already so full that you can't even fit a grain of sand, then any bit of difficulty or stress throughout the homeschool day could cause an explosion. It can cause an overflow of emotion. So what is your allostatic load, ladies? How are you doing with that? How are your emotions? I did an episode on self-care, episode 16, The Sensitive World of Self-Care, and I'll link that one also in the show notes, but hopefully these are helpful to you. I want them to be. Next category, relationships. How are your relationships, not just with your squad, like we kind of already talked about, your support structure, but also with your kids? How are their relationships with each other? What are you doing to support the growth in that relationship? Again, we're not fixing it now. We're just reflecting. What is the ideal that you would like in a realistic relationship with your children? And what would you love to see with their relationship between one another? Assess and write it down. Finally, how about the extracurriculars? Were you involved in any this year for your kids? How about for yourself? Did they work? How was the scheduling, the planning, the cost? How did it work for your child? It might be the best sport in the world, great cost, and you love the team, but it is just not working for that child. Assess. Really reflect on this. Are the extracurriculars worth it? Is it working for your family? Again, we're not fixing, we're just stream of consciousness reflecting. And finally, when it comes to different subjects or different curriculum, did you choose to do anything online? Or was it all book work? Or was it all online work? How did that work for you? Did your child respond well to the different screen things that you did? Or was it harder? Does your child respond well to reading books to themselves? Or do they need to read out loud? Ask yourself these questions to see if you've made the best choice for online versus book learning or any other method that you're using. This also has to do with their learning style. So a lot of these mix together, but hopefully these questions will guide you. And then, of course, you may take off and think of your own reflection questions. So as you reflect on this past year, I again encourage you to not shed judgment on yourself. I am so proud of you. As you look back, just write down what you notice so that we can then, in a couple of weeks, do a setting up for next year episode. And then is where we search for solutions and we try to make things better or keep it the same. Please subscribe to this podcast. New episodes every Tuesday. Follow me, and I beg you to write a written review. It helps so much with the algorithm. And come on over and follow me on Instagram. I've been really trying to post some encouraging homeschooling mama content for you to make you laugh, to make you smile, and to feel encouraged, because I see you and I know what you're doing. So blessings on you as you reflect over this past homeschool with no judgment. I believe in you.